Goodbye, bye week, and hello, week 5. This is Football Fever, brought to you by LISD TV and LoneStarVarsity.com, your source for high school football on the South Plains. I'm Travis Cram, and with me, as always, is George Watson from the Avalanche-Journal. And no, we did not wash our reds and whites together. This is Pinktober. We are proudly wearing the colors as part of a month-long tribute at the Avalanche-Journal to help raise awareness in the fight for breast cancer, a color you will see more and more throughout the pages of the AJs this month. So let's get to some football now. And with the bye week, George, in District 2-5A, we took a look at the 8 teams in 3-2A and some good matchups there. Denver City and Abernathy, and like Coach Summers said, it was just a good old whooping Friday night.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it's such a big win by Abernathy and such a dominant win kind of by Abernathy that all Coach Summers could do was kind of laugh and say, hey, I didn't know what to call it except for a good old country whooping. So that's basically what it was. Abernathy was able to run the ball. They were able to pass the ball when they needed. And the defense, I thought, was really impressive in being able to shut down Denver City's passing game. It's not a good omen when your first series offensively is for Denver City. You're going 3 and out with 3 incomplete passes. Abernathy did a real good job shutting them down, dominated the game, and then used a big second quarter by Peyton Rogers. He had 5 touchdowns in the game. I think he had 3 of them or 4 of them in that one quarter alone. So a big quarter by them, and that really kind of spread the game out a little bit, allowed them to take control, and Abernathy came out with a big win.
Now, you talked a little bit about in your notebook just the fact that Abernathy kind of taking a little bit of the passing game into their playbook this week. 400 yards of total offense in that game, so a big win for them. Other one going on was Post and Roosevelt, and Post getting a huge, I almost want to say upset, but a big win for Coach Jones and that group, learning that new offense and not battling just Roosevelt, but the mosquitoes out there that night.
Yeah, it's like you said in your story. It's 2 teams and 2 coaches. They're really instituting, or their new offenses, new defense, trying to get the kids, playing the way they want them. And it's 2 teams that that we felt like were pretty even going into the game. Unfortunately, Roosevelt had the injury to Warnock, and they lost him early in the second quarter. And I think that really kind of shifted the balance toward Post a little bit. They were able to kind of take control in the second half and come out with the win. But I mean, it's 2 very even teams, 2 evenly matched teams, and who knows how that's going to play out once we get down into week 8, week 9, and you start talking about playoffs. But that's a big win for Post to be able to pull out that win in the first week of the season. Yeah,
and talking to Coach Pointer earlier this week, he said, Corey was back on his feet, walking around a little bit. They had an MRI done. Haven't seen anything yet. So far, it's just a strain. So hopefully he's healthy again, because he had 208 passing yards in that first half, and then it went down after that. And Post outscores Roosevelt 21-13 in the second half. So we'll have to see where they go from there. The other one, Littlefield and Slaton. Our old friend Don covering that one. He was battling mosquitoes as well out there, but a big win for Littlefield.
Yeah, Don doesn't have to deal with too many mosquitoes when he's covering Tech up at Jones AT&T Stadium. They don't have to worry about getting the off or whatever. But we always like to send Don out and just kind of knock him down. Just he's not getting the big hit. But no, seriously, just a big win by Littlefield, and I think one that we kind of expected with Littlefield's running game and the way they're just able to mash you off the ball. I mean, it wasn't really anything unexpected with them winning 34-7 over Slaton. Slaton's a good team, but when we're talking about this district right now, we're talking about 2 teams that are at the top in Idalou and Littlefield, and I think maybe Abernathy might be poised to join them a little bit. But yeah, just a dominant win by the Wildcats.
Yeah, and of course, Patrick Barrios, 71 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns in that game, 4 out of the 5 touchdowns that they scored there. The other one going on, Idalou and Shallowater. When we looked at this one at the beginning of the year, when we had Sean Reagan and Morris standing next to each other, we thought this was going to be it. And, of course, it didn't turn out that way with the injury to Morris, but a big win again for Idalou.
Yeah, the A.J. cover tab jinx, strikes again, knocks out Andrew Morris. I think it's like the 5th or 6th straight year that we've had somebody on the cover that's gotten injured either in preseason or during the season or something like that. But, yeah, I mean, like you said, when we looked at this game, this was going to be the marquee game of the opening weekend. But then as things happened, Idalou just kind of, mashing everybody and Shallowater struggling. Idalou, came out and took care of business like we expected them to, and really looks to be poised for another big run, not only through the district but in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, Idalou doing what they do best. They gained 351 rushing yards on the ground, a lot of that to Reagan and, of course, Cook. But another one, let's go to 4A Friendship, having to travel west, go to New Mexico to play Hobbs. Tyler Lloyd didn't even need a second half to win this one.
No, he didn't, and it's a weird deal because when you go to New Mexico, they have different rules in New Mexico. They play federation rules as opposed to UIL rules, which follow more closely to the NCAA. But federation rules, you know, there's just subtle differences, like you can't face guard, defensive back can't face guard, you can't cut block, you can't do certain things that are penalties. But it didn't really look like the Tigers needed it. I mean, 42 to 20, and really it wasn't even that close because two of Hobbs' touchdowns came there midway from the midway point of the fourth quarter on. So I listened to a little bit of that game coming back from Abernathy, and just a dominant performance by the Tigers. I mean, they're sitting there 5-0 going into the break. And right now, honestly, there's nothing in my mind that can tell me that, right now our coach of the year, at least at this midpoint, is Brad Davis and what he's done with Friendship and kind of rebuilding them and all the losses they had and the way they've come back and just been dominant for the first 5 weeks of the season has just been outstanding.
Plainview getting a big win over Palo Duro. They win 12-7, and a big play to help with that win was Solis's 61-yard punt return. Yeah,
a very, very big defensive struggle. It was a 7-6 game, and both teams are going back and forth. Both teams have struggled out of the gate here, this season offensively and defensively a little bit, but they got a big defensive game, and then like you said, you got the punt return there in the fourth quarter that gave Plainview the lead, and they were able to hang on from there and get a big win. I know that's always an emotional game. With Coach Parr from Palo Duro used to coach at Plainview for a long time, coached under Greg Sherwood, who the stadium there at Plainview is named after. And I know it's always emotional for him to go back to Plainview and play a game there. He's done it 3 or 4 times, but credit Coach McClintock and their group. They did an outstanding job planning for Palo Duro this week. Played an outstanding defensive game and were able to pull out the win.
Cooper getting a huge win over Brownfield this weekend in the season that's been full of emotions for the Pirates. And not just that, but they get another curveball thrown at them in the middle of the game, but get a big player to step up in that one.
Yeah, a big play and a big player. A sophomore named Tay Richardson comes in at quarterback and is able to lead them to the win. And like you said, it's just been such an up and down year for Cooper. They've lost some games, had to have the game postponed because of Kelsey Vines' death that we've talked about before, and honor her a little bit here. But to go out and have all that adversity and then come out in the second half and take control with Richardson and that group and get a big win over a very talented Brownfield team is huge. Now they go into this makeup game with Snyder, with a little bit of confidence right before they go into district, and hopefully they'll be able to carry that on into the district and have some more success this season.
We'll talk to Coach Wyndham here in a little bit more about their game coming up. But the other one, Seagraves getting a win over Crosbyton. They start off the right way for this next weekend.
Yeah, a big win by Seagraves. I thought Crosbyton, might win this game. I'd like the way that Crosbyton was playing, but Seagraves, credit them. They've had a couple of tough losses, but they come back and play well, and that was kind of a defensive struggle too, and I think really fit Seagraves well. So a big win by the Eagles there.
All right, find out who this week's AJ City Player of the Week is when we come back in the Fever.